What's up? What's up?
What's up, James? How are you?
I'm doing very well. Everybody, I'm super excited about this interview today because I mean it's one of those things that's gonna hit your heart a little bit as well. But I'm here with Nikki, and once again we do these every Thursday at 11 o'clock, interviewing an agent that's killing in their industry and being able to add value to the real estate community. And I'm here with Nikki just simply because she's a bad agent, and she's doing her thing, and she's bringing tremendous value, and she's helping a lot of people while she's doing it. So Nikki, can you tell people about yourself and that real estate journey, how you got into real estate, for some of the folks that might not know.
Oh, that's a long story. Do we have? I don't know how much time we have. I'm getting old, James. So it's been a while, but I started in '05, just buying flip properties, trying to just get my feet wet, and kind of ended up owning way more. My goal was to flip, and I ended up being a landlord of a lot of properties. So of course, '08, '09 came along. I'm like honestly the poster child of that whole crash that happened. Um, so was pretty affected by that. Came back from that knowing that I really wanted to. I think it came from a place of I wanted to help people not end up in the same kind of situations that I had found myself accidentally in, not knowing that things were going to come up in the market the way that they did. Um, or in the economy, everything across the board. So I decided to get licensed in 2011, and then from there I've built a couple of teams and been at a few brokerages, and just kind of the typical story from there. Just I've always just tried to find what can I do and how can I contribute in in whatever I'm doing, and I found that kind of my heart for years was to help people in real estate, both helping clients to help them keep them safe from things that could potentially happen and go wrong in a transaction, to kind of having a heart for other agents that I saw struggling or needing help. I definitely knew all the things not to do, so that kind of made me somebody who was, I think, a good candidate for helping them avoid a lot of the pitfalls that I had been through. And then, I mean, that's it. So that's how I've been here a long time. Seen a lot of things.
2005, with the crash and stuff like that. And, for us, I mean, I know we've had conversations in the past, and we kind of talked about like what drives certain people. And one of the things that we spoke about is like money never has been a thing that really drove you. And I mean, even early on, from what you're saying right now, you wanted to help other real estate agents not to go through some of the stuff that you went through, right?
Right. hmm Yeah. As a matter of fact, um, early on, as soon as I got licensed, I would have, I would try to talk to people as mentors and coaches. And in the beginning, to be honest, I heard from people a lot. Like, I don't feel like maybe you're the right personality for real estate. But the problem with that was I was very passionate about real estate. Like, that's the atmosphere and the field that I enjoyed being in. And as I grew and, kind of stepped up the coaching, the level of coaching, the level of mentorship that I sought out, I learned quickly that people are motivated by different things. Some people in business are motivated by money, and I'm not against that. And some people are motivated by um, I don't know, status, or maybe recognition. Or for me, it was very much I wanted to protect people. I wanted to protect clients. I wanted to protect agents from people who might be taking advantage of them. I wanted to contribute and offer alternatives and better ways of doing things. I became somebody who wanted to help people protect their like financial future. Um, I learned early when I was an investor that you needed, for instance, multiple streams of income. So how do you help people find those? How do I help single moms who are struggling? And there's ways in real estate that we can do that. And so I learned that it wasn't that I wasn't cut out for real estate. It was just that the people I was learning from were typically probably more money driven. And again, I'm not against making money. I like money. I like new things. I just once I tapped into what my purpose in real estate in that field was, that's when I began to grow, and I began to grow in the right direction, and found what made me feel fulfilled and happy in that industry. And then as I've done that, I found so many people that see it the same way, and we get to kind of walk that journey together now. So that's been pretty cool. And yeah, we've had some good conversation about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I really enjoy, when we're able to talk about things like that, and really, we say it all the time, right? We always talk about the why, like finding the why, what makes you click, and for most people, they'll say, oh, it's the money, or they might say kids. I mean, but I strongly believe it got to go a little bit beyond even that aspect of it to really get into the core of who you are.
Yep.
Because once you get your why, I mean, it makes you want to jump out of bed every morning and go do stuff that even if you got paid for it or not. And then not only that aspect of it, but like you said before, finding other people that connect to your why.
Right.
And when you start to be able to do that, y'all start putting the whole thing together. What Jay Kenner talks about one big fire. You having one big fire towards your why, you can really make a whole lot of more things happen, right?
Absolutely. I feel like you read my notes for today, because I was like, I'm going to start out with, okay, finding your why. What does that actually mean? Because the why is actually not really technically, it shouldn't really be your kids, your family. That's kind of a given, in my opinion, right? Like, that's your responsibility. That's not your why. But so if you find your why, and then from there, all you have to do is find whose. Okay. So it's really a pretty simple, here's my why. And then I go through life and I find the whos that I'm going to do this why with. You don't even have to ask anymore how, what, when, who cares? None of that really matters. When you start to find the real people that you're supposed to be on that journey with, and you all have the same why, things begin to grow because you're all like-minded, you're in alignment. And so when you're doing that, and you can focus all your energy and your attention on finding who's now, like once you've established, this is my why, I know it is, there's no other reason that I'm on this planet. And I always go back, I knew a long time ago, I always loved Steve Jobs saying, if we're not going to make a dent on the planet, like, why even be here? What's the point? And I'm a big believer that God gave entrepreneurs the talents, the problem solving skills, the personalities that we have, the endurance, like all of the things that we have, he handed to us to be like world changers, like game changers. It's not so we can buy another boat. I don't believe that that's why God gave us these things. I mean, he wants us to enjoy this life and be, and I don't mean to get like too religious. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just saying, however you believe, why were you put on the planet? I just can't make it be that I was here to buy, it's for me to buy. I'm not here to offend people. I'm not saying, again, my husband loves cars. We love the material things are material things, but that's not why you're here. Okay. You're not here to enjoy another boat, another car, another house, another, all of the material things, another pair of shoes. Like, who cares? We're here if we have these special skills and these talents and this great, capacity to take care of multiple things at once. And all of these entrepreneurs that I've met, they're just incredible human beings. And in real estate, especially, I'm fond of the entrepreneurs that have landed in the real estate world. But they are so gifted and so talented, and they're such different individuals. And I just feel like we are built that way for a bigger purpose. Yes, to take care of our clients. Yes, to home people and to help them. But what if it's bigger than that? And what if putting enough of us together is is enough of a game changer to make a difference, to shift, things in another direction that is good for the world, even if it's your community or the world, what is your part that you're playing in that? And so I look at things from that aspect. And, again, we've had that conversation, I think, before. So those are the kind of things that I'm pretty passionate. That's kind of my why. My why started out with the child trafficking, and then it's kind of expanding into giving entrepreneurs and people in real estate an even bigger why, like an even bigger something to drive them. Because if you don't have something pushing and pulling you, real estate's hard, and you're going to get up every day, and there's going to be so many challenges and hurdles that are going to, I know, Ryan Stewman, he calls it the force of average. Like, there's just going to be all this stuff coming at you. As soon as you start succeeding, there's going to be so many things to stop you. And if you don't have a really big purpose to drive you to jump over each one of those hurdles as they come, you got to have a why and a purpose that's big enough to drive you to succeed, that any and all, the little problems that are happening in the transaction, the fires that you're putting out every day, the people that, that are maybe, agents get into tiffs with each other. And I mean, there's all these things that can happen, and I can give you all the examples that you already know as a real estate agent. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to say, this isn't really important. This is not what's important, right? What's important is that, we're doing what we're doing to help people. We're doing what we're doing to also make enough money to give and to help other people outside of just who's in this world that I'm in, this little world that I'm in. Like, let's look outside of that. So
Yeah.
I can go on and on.
No. I mean, obviously, you're passionate about it because you're living it, right? I mean, and I mean, I actually agree. I mean, 100% with what you're saying, and I don't mind you bringing up religion because I mean, it's part of who we are, or who certain people are, and if you're being your authentic self,
Yeah.
you're gonna actually talk about the thing that drives you. So I mean, like, I call it money with a purpose, right? I mean, that's really what we're doing right now. Like,
Yep.
we're going
Money's
out
cool.
and yeah, it's a tool.
Yep.
Instead of having it to, serve you, you're actually using it to serve other people.
Yes.
And that's the whole process of I think what you've been able to tap into. Like, of course you're gonna sell more. Of course you're gonna do more. Of course you're gonna be able to enjoy certain aspects of life in of itself, but I mean that can't be the end of it. Like, you got to be able to have make an impact on the planet, which I love what you said about Steve Jobs. Like, what's the purpose of you being here, right?
Right. Yeah.
So all right, so I know you kind of mentioned the trafficking, sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Can you tell people a little bit about that? Because I mean, I know I seen a video on it, and I mean, everybody that I saw, I mean, guys with freaking watery eyes and tears, and I mean, it was freaking amazing of not only not knowing what was going on, but the impact of what you're doing to help. So can you kind of share that whole thing?
Yes, I would love to. We several years ago, I think you and I might have met at that mastermind. I'm trying to remember. What year did you join?
Yeah, I think it was Key West. It was in Key West, right?
Yes. So up until that point, and I'm just kind of telling the backstory of how this came to be, if that's okay. Um, I knew that I needed to find some people who thought in alignment, that I could get in alignment more with how they think, and kind of all the things we've just talked about are things that that group of people, that they think that way, they think bigger, they think, what's the bigger picture here? Um, so at that mastermind, there was conversations going on along those lines, and I had really had in my heart a vision for what I wanted to do, but I really wasn't thinking big enough, to be honest. I don't think I was capable of thinking big enough until I got in a room of people who thought a lot bigger than me. And so I just kind of had this moment. Well, first of all, when I got into that room, I thought, I am in the wrong room. oh my God, how did I get here? Why am I here? I need to leave. Like this, when I started counting up, like just the production in that room alone was mind boggling. And then the amount of, there was not that many people in that room. I think in that room there was like 50, 60 people. So from all over the country. And I just felt so privileged and just honestly blessed. Like I don't even know how I'm here, how this happened, but okay. And then about 2 hours, an hour, 2 hours later, I was sitting in that room thinking, no, I did it. I figured it out. I'm in a whole room of people that are smarter than I am. And I am digging this because now I can really start to speak out loud the things that I'm envisioning. Like I have the vision for, but I have no idea the steps to get there. And so I don't even know how or why, but this subject just came up of kind of how we could do bigger, better things with our talents and our skills. And I just spoke out. I would love to do something for child trafficking. I think if we got enough real estate agents together, like look what real estate agents are made out of. Look what we deal with on a daily basis. And the fact that we wake up every morning and we just keep doing it, we are the kind of people that if you got enough of us, we could at least make a dent, right? Like, I don't know, we're not going to probably, unfortunately, sadly, I don't know if we would eradicate it. Probably not. But can we make a dent? Can we make a dent in those numbers? How many children can we save? That's the question. I think a lot of times we think it's too big of a problem. Like, let's not even mess with it. But we're not looking at it as each life that can be saved. We just see the problem and it's so overwhelming that we just say, no, let's do something else. So that was the kind of conversations that were happening. And by that evening, I had a line, like you said, there was honestly, and I don't know why, but I had envisioned a whole bunch of kind of moms that were stepping up and wanting to get involved, or like that would be the people that would want to talk to me about this idea that I had. It was a line of grown men, businessmen, standing there all night coming and asking me, what can I do to help? Here's the resources I have. Here's the people I have. Here's the knowledge that I have. Here's the skills that I have. Here's what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I was blown away. And that happened for 2 or 3 days. And I was blown away with the response and thought, no, it is going to be, of course, women will be involved, but these men are like going to step up. Like this is going to be really incredible to watch. And I had no idea the kind of response that even from there that we were going to get. And it just kind of took off from there. And then so from my side, I was already helping a friend of mine she is boots on the ground organization rescuing children in Thailand from human traffickers. She both gets the kind of like the information, like she has a hotline, people call her now. It's grown over the years. So she can get the information that it's going to happen ahead of time. So she can sometimes rescue them ahead of time. Sometimes she has to rescue them after. And also she now it's evolved into her educating areas that are very heavy. And you think of, a lot of times when people think of child trafficking, they think of kidnapping, like they've been taken. Most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, these families are actually selling them to the human traffickers. So there was a whole element of how do we combat that? So she has to use education and help them find other ways to make money to feed the other kids in the family. Like it's very, very involved, to say the least, a lot of work. And so this friend and I, we had a conversation and I just said, how can we help you? Because she doesn't have time to jump on a plane and come over here and get money when she's taking these kids in, she's feeding them, educating them. They need therapy. There's all kinds of expenses from the time you take on a little child to the point where you can, you're creating, you need to basically take them from this crisis situation and then how do we plan on making them a productive member of society? Okay, that's the goal. And how do we also, what's interesting is these kids, as they, because she's been doing this a while now, as they're becoming 14, 15, 16 years old, what do you think they're doing? They're going out now and they're educating those communities and saying, here's where I came from, here's what happened to me, here's how we solved the problem. And so they're going and doing things to help those communities find, how do we grow our own food, like how do we grow our own, or how do we get our own livestock now, how, and so they're going out, and it's kind of like a domino effect, if you will. So she's who I started with, and that is who we help. That's the majority of who we help. She is breaking out into some other countries, and her biggest thing that she needed, the very first few conversations we had, I was making donations through my closings, and I was asking her, how do we do this on a bigger scale? Like, how can we help you? And she told me, Nikki, we have 65 kids a day trafficked by this one area alone in the world. 65. And she said, I actually have people here that are so angry about it and so, ready to help, that I have enough people to get them. I don't have anywhere to put them. We don't have housing. I don't have the houses. So if we have the more houses we have, everything else we have figured out. I just have to have housing and places to put them. And so that's what triggered me to think, okay, how can we raise that money faster? And this is not gonna happen overnight, sadly. So every morning I get up and I would count 65 more kids, 65 more kids, 65 more. And so I had to start thinking on a bigger scale. How can we get an army of people together that are honestly good at finding money, raising money, and they have the relationships and the skills and the tools. So how do we grow that with the right people, finding the right who's to grow that and get this problem solved, help solving that problem. Uh, and then that's where we kind of headed with Agents Against Child Trafficking. We built out the website. We built out it's an automated system now, because for a long time it was one or two people who were working on it. So now we have it. We've built it up to where you can be an ambassador in your community. We want you to go out and be an ambassador and talk about it, and direct people to the site to help really with the expenses and building those homes and helping on that end of things. So that's
I
it.
mean, that is. I mean, honestly, like I'm here. I've heard it before, and as you say it again, I'm still kind of, honestly, just getting choked up because, um, I mean, I commend you so much. It's so many people that they see a problem, right, and they want to do something about it, but they don't know how, or they don't make the move. So you saw a problem and you started doing stuff on your end, like you said, just from your closings. You took a portion of what your closings and you put it at that particular area. But then you start actually making other people aware, and really, like you was talking about, like the who's. I think that part of that is just making more folks aware. That's how you find your who's.
Yeah.
At Key West, like nobody knew that we were going to be sitting there hearing about sex trafficking at a Key West mastermind about real estate agents, growing their business. But because you was able to share that and you was able to put it out there and put yourself out there, that was connections started getting met, and all of a sudden, like you said, you had all these people kind of flooding you, and like, how can I help? What I got to do? It's amazing how what awareness would do. Like, if people are aware of something, I think that everybody's God creature, and once you start pulling on the heartstrings, you're going to, people start to make moves, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about right now. Like, so the question I got for you, let's say if somebody else, um, they got a why and they got a passion that they want to be able to help other people. They don't really know, how to do it or what to do or whatever. What suggestions do you have for that particular person in order to get to doing, what you've been able to accomplish?
Oh, so I'm actually have been I guess not struggling with the idea, but wondering if I need to kind of dive more into that and helping others. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, maybe child trafficking is what wakes me up every morning and gets me going. But of course, everyone has their own why, their own purpose that they were put here, and some of them some of them are aligning with my why, but my other why could also be helping a lot of people start doing what I'm doing in other realms. Okay. Um, my advice would be you have to get crystal clear, like absolutely crystal clear. I'm a big fan of whiteboards. Like I obsess with just, I mean, this is just how I do it. I have to have, there's actually a verse that says, like, if you write it out, like write it out plain so that you can run with the vision. Write the vision out so that you can look and run with it. And so I want that vision in front of me every day, all day, exactly what it is, because otherwise you're going to get distracted. There's so many distractions, especially in real estate, right? I mean, there's so many things that come to distract you from that one thing. What is the thing that if you're on your deathbed that you are going to be angry with yourself that you did not complete, that you didn't do? I'm not willing to lay on my deathbed and say I didn't help. I didn't do everything that I could in my power to help with the reason I was put here. Um, and so if somebody has whatever your purpose is, you have to get crystal clear on that. And then I make a hit list, like who are my who's that I think could possibly be in alignment with what I'm doing, and in what way. So if they are, maybe they have whatever skills they may have, and sometimes you don't know how they fit into the picture, and you don't know if they do quite yet. You just can feel and sense that you guys are connected on some level. You know what I'm saying? Like this sometimes, and I think that we overlook that a lot. Like I might be connected with somebody who's not even in real estate, but and so maybe so it might feel like it's not a fit, like a who fit, but there's just something there, and there is. That person's going on my board until I figure it out, because I feel like people are put in your life for a reason. There are certain people put in your life for a reason, and then there's other people that are there to distract you.
Yeah.
So there's both sides. And so is that person a distraction? And it's not being selfish, right? Because if I was put in that person's life, or they were put in my life for a purpose, then we need to find out what that is. But I guess what I'm getting at is, protect your energy, protect your relationships, protect your, I say protect your money, your energy, and your time. Those are all, assets that I don't think we protect our money. We're real protective of our money, but sometimes we're not very protective of our time and our energy. Make sure you're spending time with the right who's. Okay, that doesn't mean that somebody else is, any less. It just means we're not in alignment with each other. Maybe we weren't put on this planet to affect the world in any way together. That really doesn't mean anything except for, are we supposed to be doing something together? Yes or no? I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm sensing it now, just by conversations, like-mindedness. Do I feel almost like I'm assigned to that person in some way? Are they assigned to me in some way? Are we, do we not only enjoy? That's another thing. Like do you enjoy being with these people? If it is an enjoyment and it is fulfilling for both sides, and you're having like-minded conversations, and stick with those people. Those are your who's. And so that'd be my advice. Honestly, you get crystal clear on that why, and then you find the who's that are in alignment, and you don't worry about the rest. You don't even have to know. I never had to say, how am I going to do this? Or when am I going to do it? Or where am I going to do it? All those questions you don't really, that bog you down. you don't have to answer those, because if you find the people, they answer all those questions by their own set of skills, whatever, whatever they're passionate about. Within that, if you're working together, it all comes together. It starts to create the puzzle. It starts to fill the puzzle in, and eventually you have the full picture. So
Man, another a good book to read. I know I got it from John Kitchens. Is Who Not How. So for anybody out there that that's want to kind of get clear on that, definitely get it on Audible. You can order it and read it yourself as well.
yep.
Nikki, like what is if somebody wanted to contribute and donate, how do they reach out to you, or how are they able to do that?
So if you just go to www.agentsact.com, I don't know if we can put that somewhere on the video. Um, agentsact.com. You can go there. There's a donate button. There we added a find out more button. Okay, so because we found out that some people were wanting to put together events or talk to us about ideas that they had where they could contribute in a bigger way. And so there's a donate now, which is like a one-time donation. If you want to become an ambassador, meaning um, you have like your own events, and on your like we give you permission to post our videos and things like that on your social media. So if somebody's out there and they're like, wow, this is exactly what I want to do, but I didn't have time to build it, or then we've done that for you. So um, that would be the best thing to do. But all of that is available on that website. Um, so whichever way somebody wants to help, there should be an option on there for
Yeah.
that. So
Say the website one more time.
www.agentsact.com. So it's agents plural. ACT stands for Against Child Trafficking.com. Agents Act.
All right.
Yep.
So definitely, you all, please support, please support, please support. I mean, she's doing great things, wonderful things, for the children. And I think a lot of times we take for granted, especially being here in the United States, of what poverty really looks like. If you're at a point where you're feeling so desperate that you feel like you have to sell your kid in order to keep everything else going. um that's tragic, not only to be in that situation, but then also just the kid having to go and do that. So I mean, please support that. um Nikki, man, I really appreciate you 100%. Once again, like we do these every Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
interviewing an agent that's, doing, very well in the industry and being able to add tremendous value. I mean, I know you definitely blessed us so many people just from just sharing your story. And I thank you so much, and I'm so glad that I know you, that I met you at that Key West. You changed my life, and you've been able to. We jumped on some calls with some other people that was looking to do some charity stuff as well. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, James. I appreciate this. This is awesome.
All right. Until the next time. I mean, I'll see you all later. Thursday at 11.